All right, we got Brent in Costa Mesa. How are you?
We got Brent in Costa Mesa. All right, so do I need to turn down my volume?
Yeah, turn it down.
All right, guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just get right into my question. I've seen quite a few episodes of the show, and a while back you addressed the question of if the Big Bang's real, who started the Big Bang? Because what you did in that specific episode is provide a link, a domain to go to, and I took a look, and guy had like a decent idea of how it began, scientifically provable. And from what I gathered from it, he was trying to say that when there's nothing, you have a vacuum, and just like taking all the air out of a bottle of wine, for example, is if you actually take it all out, there will be an explosion. The glass will explode. So I guess that goes back to the laws of physics. And so I'm calling in to ask who came up with the laws of physics, who put all that there.
What makes you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, the laws of physics, any scientific law is not something someone came up with. These are observations.
They're descriptive laws. They're not prescriptive laws. Nobody wrote them like thou shalt not exceed 55 miles per hour on the freeway. This is just a description of how particles interact in the universe. Okay. You could validly ask, why are the laws of physics as they are instead of some alternative? But the question, who wrote the laws of physics or who created the laws of physics, that is a nonsensical question.
Okay. All right. So, in your opinion, I did watch this video, but unfortunately, I'm a pretty smart guy, but unfortunately, it's above my head. A lot of the terminology I've never heard of.
Are you talking about? Are you talking about Lawrence Krauss's A Universe from Nothing?
I believe that's the one. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah.
Is there a way to a little simpler terminology to describe how the Big Bang happened?
You're calling the wrong show.
Yeah, I'm not a cosmologist, so I guess Lawrence Krauss is probably the best guy to break it down for you. I mean, this is what he does.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely took a look at that. Do you mind if I just ask another question?
Sure.
Okay, so apparently there's been, we'll call it, for lack of a better word, missing link bones found that kind of show a difference from, let's say, a human and a monkey, right? To my knowledge, something like 24 highly incomplete skeletons. Okay, so we've got 24 skeletons of what would be a missing link, but how many T-Rex bones do we have? And it's like significantly more. And I'm wondering why we have such incomplete missing, let's call it missing link bones, such incomplete and so few, whereas where we have very complete T-Rex or whatever dinosaur you want to specifically talk about.
Wow, there's so much wrong with that question. It's really kind of hard.
Yeah.
First of all, T-Rex is a single species for which we have a number of examples of, but we don't have all the transitional forms between T-Rex and its precursors. So you're comparing transitional forms between two species over time with a single species, so you're comparing apples and oranges to begin with.
Okay, you're right. I probably didn't phrase that correctly, but I think you kind of led me into the question I was trying to ask, is why don't we have, maybe a better question would be, why don't we have those transitional forms?
We have we have lots of transitional forms, and one of the key things is that everything is a transitional form. Why don't we have more fossils in the fossil record? It's because fossils are very difficult and only occur under certain circumstances. So we're lucky that we have any at all. But we don't need fossils at all to demonstrate common ancestry between humans and the rest of the great apes. I mean, we can do that with genetics alone.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, curious why there aren't fossils though.
Well, because fossilization only occurs under very specific conditions.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you think everything that ever died became a fossil?
To be honest with you, in some form, I suppose, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, they're pretty rare.
Okay, I had no idea.
Not only that, but in some cases where there may be a bunch of fossils, you can't get to them because they're buried in rock. I mean, it's not like we're going to go dynamiting the entire planet in the hopes of getting down multiple layers of rock to find fossils. We find we do it the easy way, partly because we're lazy and partly because it's practical, and that is you go to areas where, due to tectonic shift, et cetera, the plates have moved such that older rock is now up on top where it's handy for us to get to. You can't always get to the older rock.
Okay.
But anyway,
All right.
thanks
Well,
a lot.
Yeah, that definitely, I'm glad I could learn something new there.
Sure. I'd
with that
recommend
being-
stopping by Talk Origins, and there's a lot of good information there about all this stuff. But thanks so much for calling, Brent.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye. So every year, the American Atheist Convention is held over Easter weekend.
Yep.
We are usurping your holiday again.
And speaking of
Be
Christmas,
offended.
we have at least one more Christmas call. Brent in Costa Mesa, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I know I only have 5 minutes left, so I'll try to be brief. I received due to your show and a lot of science and facts, I've decided to become an atheist, and this is the first time calling in as an atheist.
Awesome.
Okay.
I've called in several times before. I just want to mention
Wait,
that
you
my
called in
mom,
before? Did you call in as a theist to argue with us?
That's correct, I did. And I
Ah.
thought I had really good debates that you guys were properly addressing.
So somebody flagged this for the YouTube post for all the people.
That's all right.
Sometimes what happens is I'll get emails from somebody who says they've called many times and now they've changed their mind, but it's rare that they actually call back in. So thanks for doing that, and carry on.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, I wanted to speak on the Christianity versus Christmas thing real briefly. My mom asked me, okay, if you're going to be an atheist now this year, then I'm not going to buy you gifts for Christmas.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And I just wanted to know I wanted to tell you guys how I responded to her. I just told her that, I don't think Christianity, I don't think Christmas is about Jesus. I think it's about a equally fictional fat man that goes down chimneys and provides gifts for people. And I never even heard my mother say the name Jesus on Christmas. Me personally, it's always about Santa Claus. So the fact that something doesn't exist doesn't stop me from celebrating the holiday.
Yep.
Personally.
I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I mentioned it on the show. I mentioned it to John beforehand. One of the things that Beth and I have been doing for fun is we drive around neighborhoods in Austin. Did I mention this on the show?
Yeah, but seeing which
Like 0.2%
displays,
actually
yeah,
out of 400 and some odd homes?
Yeah.
I guess I did mention that. All right.
yeah.
But yeah.
The other point I wanted to make is probably the reason, essentially, that I became an atheist, and I want to share it with the world because it's just facts and that can be verified, independent of yourself. You can just Google it. And this is the very one paragraph summary of why I'm an atheist. My mother sent me an email asking me, why are you an atheist now? And I responded with this. I'm going to read it to you. I said, let me tell you what the result of rejecting God is. More wealth, health, happiness, intelligence, and morality. Proof. Here's the proof. Mississippi is the most religious state. Google it. But ranks last for health, last for wealth, last for GDP, and is also the most racist state in America. Ranks almost last for happiness, 48th out of 50. It's fourth worst in natural disasters, I want to point out, so God definitely doesn't bless his followers. Second to last in intelligence, and the second worst in prison population per capita. Meanwhile, only 0.02% of people in prison are atheists, and Vermont, the most atheistic state, ranks first in intelligence, fifth for happiness. The statistics go on, and it's
Hey,
not
Brent,
only a statewide basis,
Brent.
but also countrywide.
I gotta cut you off there because they're getting ready to put up the credits because we're done here in like 30 seconds. I will say that while I'm encouraged that you're dealing with this and addressing it, that you should exercise some caution because correlation isn't causation, and that's kind of the argument that you're trying to make there. It doesn't necessarily tie to the truth or fiction of religious claims, but I got to go because they're actually kicking us.
At the very least, Matt, I think it's proof.
We're done. The content of this video is produced by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. If you enjoyed this content and are willing and able to provide a donation, please visit the website below. And actually, I have to do this real quick, I promise. For people who've been watching clips on YouTube, if this clip happens to make it to YouTube, it's worth pointing out that you can watch the entire show by going to the website, www.atheist-experience.com, as well as archived shows by clicking on the show archive there. Most of them are on Google Video, some of them are on Blip TV.